If you're running a solo practice or a small firm, one of the hardest decisions to make is when to hire that next attorney, when to hire a new paralegal. And I know because I started a law firm with just myself, and I've grown it to 5 attorneys, 4 paralegals, and several support staff. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about when is the right time to hire that new attorney or paralegal for your firm.
Welcome to the Josh Gerben Show, because law school didn't teach business.
Hi everybody, I'm Josh Gerben. Welcome to episode 28 of the Josh Gerben Show. This is the show where we talk about the business side of law and all the issues that come up in running your business, otherwise known as your law firm. And today I'm answering a question I've been getting a lot on social media, which is, how do I know when I should hire another attorney or hire another paralegal for my practice? You know, if you're running a small law practice, hiring another attorney can be a major life decision. It is an expensive process, and you're bringing somebody in that you now have to trust with your clients when maybe you didn't have to trust anybody with your clients before, right? So you have this monumental decision about money and trust and client service that you're going to make. And that can go even for a paralegal if you're running a small practice and you need to bring in the salary of a new paralegal. These are all very difficult decisions to make, and it's really hard to know when is the right time to make them. So I want to help you answer this question by giving you a little background about where I came from and how I made those decisions along the way and how I wish I really made them sooner. So I started my law practice in 2008. And for those of you that don't know, I'm a trademark attorney, so we do pretty much exclusively trademark law in our practice. And when I opened my doors, it was just me. I started with a website and a pay-per-click account with Google. I didn't have any support staff. I barely even had an office. So slowly but surely, I started acquiring clients. You know, I would answer the phone if somebody called and needed a trademark. I would sell the work. I would do the work. I would send all the receipts. I would do all the administrative work. And this went on like this from 2008 to pretty much 2014. About a year or so into the practice, I actually brought my brother in as a paralegal. And I did this because he was looking for more or less part-time work. And being my brother, he was able to be very flexible with me in the sense that he wasn't demanding a certain salary and benefits and this, that, and the other that a lot of employees will need. He was really just willing to take the work I had and do it at a certain cost. So it helped me with some research. But outside of that, for the first 6 years that I ran my law firm, I would spend 12 to 14 hours a day doing everything from taking in new leads, doing the legal work, doing all the administrative work that went along with it. And a lot of times on Sundays, I would just spend doing my books. I would spend doing the accounting, paying the bills, all those kinds of things. I remember like 12 to 5 on Sunday. That was pretty much what I did for a number of years. And I look back on it and I feel like a fool sometimes because I know how much time I wasted and I could have just paid somebody to do it and maybe made a little less at the end of the day, but not likely because I would have had more time to invest in my practice as it was growing. So again, my story is that for 6 years, I basically hired no one but my brother. And then in 2014, I finally decided, you know what? I can't be a solo practitioner forever. I was making good money on my own. I wasn't making great money by my definition at the time. I had a family that was getting started, and I just felt like, well, this is going to be a leap, but let's just try it. The worst case scenario is I'm going to make a significant amount of less money in the year that I bring in this new attorney, because a new attorney is going to cost, let's say, a minimum $100,000, right? Just given what attorneys make. And I have to figure out if I can afford that kind of financial hit this year. Because I'm just counting on, I'm going to hire this person, I'm not going to make a dime more. So I did, and it was something astonishing happened to me, is that we didn't only cover this attorney's salary, but we made a little bit of money that year, in the first year this new attorney was with us. And that was kind of like a light bulb moment for me, because I was like, wait a second. I could bring somebody in, pay them a salary, and somehow bring in more work. And it wasn't like I waited for a big client to show up or a big case to show up to hire this person. I just brought this person into the day-to-day. And by having somebody to help me with the work, it freed up my time to do more of the stuff that I did best, which was grow the firm, work on the business, not in the business. which is the classic line for anybody that runs a business. You need to know that line. Work on your business, not in your business. And as lawyers, that is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do because we're taught to work in the business. We're taught to practice law. We're not taught to step back, let somebody else do the legal work, and you run the business side of it. But that's what you need to do, because if you're not doing that and you're just the lawyer on every case doing everything, your practice will never grow. It will be the same as if you're working for somebody else. So I tell you all this because I get the question a lot. When should I hire a lawyer? I'm waiting for another client to come in. I'm waiting for this. Stop waiting. Just hire somebody. If you are asking yourself the question, when should I hire somebody? The answer is now. Because if you're asking the question, you're probably really busy. You probably have the work to hand off to somebody. And, I get it too. When that whole idea, I'm going to hand the work off. At first I was like, nobody's going to do it as good as me, and nobody's going to take care of the clients as good as I'm going to do it. And you know what? That's probably right. And that's probably true to this day. However, if the folks that are working at my firm are an 8 of 10 of me or a 9 of 10 of me, which everybody here is at least that, they're going to do just fine. And in the occasional time that they don't do it as well as I would have done it, it's not going to end the practice. It's not going to be a major problem. The only thing that's going to happen is I may have to step in and correct course a little bit. But it is a very cathartic thing to say, you know what? I don't have to do everything anymore. I can actually sit back and watch the business operate. I can watch really good people do the work that I'm bringing in, and we can grow as a business. We can hire more people, give more people jobs, and we can grow a practice. Because that's how you grow a practice. You don't wait for the perfect moment to hire somebody. You don't wait for that big client to walk in and all of a sudden you have all this work and now you're going to hire people to fulfill that workload. You need to hire people so that you can pull yourself out of doing the work and go grow your firm. Now, as I say all this, the one thing that I think you need to make sure is in place as you're doing this is you need to ensure that you understand the fundamentals of your numbers. In other words, you need to have good and accurate and current books. I have seen solo practitioners that will send clients a bill once every 3 or 4 months because they just don't get around to it. I know solo practitioners that have no idea how much money they are making or not making until they sit down in December and start to look at everything. You need to know every 30 days. First off, every 30 days your invoices have to go out. You have to have a system for that. And if you can't do it, you need to hire somebody. There's plenty of people out there that can help you with that. Send your invoices out every 30 days. Have your books updated every 30 days by a bookkeeper. You can hire a part-time bookkeeper or like my bookkeeper, for example, she's a retiree essentially, and she's got a couple clients, but every 30 days, my books are updated. So the reason I say all this is because if you don't know your numbers, you really can't determine A, if you can afford somebody. So you need to make sure you can at least afford the salary, right? You don't want to bring somebody in and have $0 to pay them. So you make sure you can afford this person. And just know that, hey, even if I make $0 more than I'm making right now, I can at least bring them on and we'll be okay for 12 months. That's the starting point. But then as time goes on, look at your revenue. Is your revenue increasing? Is your profit increasing? Have you brought this person on and you haven't lost a nickel? Matter of fact, you've started to make more money. And if your numbers show you that, you know, A, you made the right decision. B, this person's doing their job, right? Because they're helping you. And C, it's probably time to hire yet another person on top of that. So if you don't know your numbers, you can't make these decisions. And a lot of small businesses, including small law firms, fly blind. It's like a pilot flying without instruments. You need your instruments. You need to be able to fly the plane. So just keep that in mind when you go to hire someone. Before you even get into that, make sure your books are straight and you can get the numbers current every 30 days. So again, if I had to go back and tell you from my experience starting at a solo practitioner to now what I consider a small IP boutique, how I got there, it was just by making a leap of faith. I never had one client come in and then it was a big client and I hired someone. It was just adding a few people a year over the course of 5 or 6 years. So once I started hiring in 2014, I caught the bug. I was like, oh wow, that really worked. Let's do it again. And now, again, we're only 5 lawyers. It's not like I've been hiring 20 people. And you have to, be careful about how quickly you grow. But again, if you're hiring 1 or 2 people a year, whether it's an attorney or paralegal, that should enable you to grow your practice. And it shouldn't be too jarring at any one point in time. It's just slow and measured growth. That's what I always say. People ask me how I'm doing. Slow and measured growth. I started in 2008. Here we are 12 years later. There's about 10 people on the payroll. I didn't go from, there's companies in that time. I read articles that, companies went from inception in 2008 to a sale pre-2020 for billions of dollars. A law firm doesn't carry that kind of trajectory normally, right? It's a slow and measured process to grow if you're going to do it right. But just remember, don't hesitate to hire one person. Highly unlikely to break the bank, and the most likely result is you're going to make more money in the end. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm all over social media. We've got LinkedIn, we've got Instagram, and you can always email me at josh@joshgerben.com. Happy to answer your questions, have a discussion about this. I think it's a fascinating topic. Something I wish I had learned about during the first 6 years I was running my law firm would have saved me some time. Hope you're staying safe, stay healthy. I'll talk to you next time.